Folks, we are live, and
Yeah,
Glenn
we
is going
are.
to play with his ear rear.
Huh?
I don't know. I was very confused. But folks, welcome to the Talking Crit afternoon special. Uh, I am Tenkar. This is Glen Oldman Grognard Halstrom. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, it's triple D with less drinking.
Which is a damn shame. And it's
Yeah,
listen, it's after 12, so
true.
you
You know,
can drink.
I'm trying to restrict sodas to my meal times. Everything else I drink Arnold Palmer, which I got a picture of in the fridge.
Oh, okay.
And I was just in the store today and I saw Sprite and tea. Have yet to try it. I picked up a bottle. Hello, Chad.
Chad,
Good.
welcome.
Or did that? Should we give him the benefit of the doubt?
Yes.
That out. Okay. What's that one module? That one basic D&D module that was written by Harry Knuckles?
Harry, no, I don't.
I
Oh my
think that was
God.
Castle Caldwell. Anyway, the way they spelled it, we did a review on Save or Die, and I said, "Oh, we're reviewing. I reviewing something um, written by Harry Knuckles." And Mike knows, no, that's Harry Knuckles. I said, really? I didn't get that. He
That's
said, no,
the
Harry.
whole point, man. That's the whole point. If you can get
I
it
don't know. I
there,
thought, well, I was trying to be not Harry Nicholas. I thought it was
make him very sound very special.
maybe his Spanish. You know.
Hey, Mr. Nicole. It's pronounced in the worst way possible. All right.
Yeah. All right. Harry Knuckles.
What, yeah, it almost reminds me of a song, but I can't place it. And you know what? We certainly don't want me singing it. I will say that. I
Well,
don't
I
think.
watched your, as you know, I watched your email show last night.
Uh huh.
Um, are are we still dealing with the city state
Oh my
thing?
God. Yes, we are.
Oh crap!
All right. So, um, long story short, uh, and I'm not going to catch everybody up. Uh, Bob Bloodsaw II Jr. earlier this week was like, "Hey, wait for a big, huge Judges Guild announcement on Friday." Lo and behold, somebody woke up on Thursday and said Thursday is now Friday because the announcement came out on
James.
Thursday. The announcement, by the way, was covered on. I couldn't read it. Okay, it was a Facebook announcement. I was not able to read it for one very special reason, and I should be flattered. I am blocked on Facebook by Judges Guild and Bob Bloodsaw. I'm blocked. So I could not read the statement.
James.
Okay, that was fine. But Rob Conley sent me a text file of it, and then Morris covered it on N World, and I'm just going to cover the highlights because the
So
highlights
this
are enough.
is like this is the Bloodsaw Manifesto, I
Well,
guess.
well, yeah. Well, um, he goes, much of the lengthy statement by Judges Guild owner Bob Bledsoe II is a political monologue about keeping politics out of the game while simultaneously speaking at length about Bledsoe's own politics. So take that for what it's worth. It was a bit of a screed, a bit of a rant, a bit of a.
So this is my opinion on everything political and otherwise, but we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about it. It shouldn't be in gaming.
But I just
But
want to lay it out. You
but
know,
but but this is my opinion, and yours
right,
is wrong. All right,
right.
but this is where it gets it muddied the waters. Okay, I will say that, and it muddied the waters because Joe Goodman has been making videos explaining what's going on with the city state, what compensation or lack of compensation Judges Guild is going to get, how they're going to take care of the backers. Joe's been doing videos, they've been pretty good. But, and this is where I'm going to put that but, it seemed to me, that's my observation, folks, that Bob Bledsoe was kind of like in a fight or flight mode. Like he felt that Joe was pushing him into a corner and he could either bow down and cower or fight back. And to me, this seemed like a fight back. So, according to the update from Bob Bledsoe, and I'm not saying it's accurate, I'm not saying it's truthful, I'm just saying these are Bob's words, summarized by Morris. Joe Goodman originally asked to make City State of the Invincible Overlord in 2010. But it was not until 2022, 2 years after the social media meltdown by Bob Bledsoe Jr., that Bledsoe agreed to do it. So there's a disconnect between what Joe's been saying and what Bob just said. They don't add up into the same timeline. They're like diverging timelines. Judges Guild will be producing 5 years of Dungeoneer fanzine. Sorry, Goodman Games will be producing 5 years of Dungeoneer fanzine. After which Judges Guild will take it over. Joe Goodman apparently said, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I never heard about this. And it ain't happening. Judges Guild has plans for some a range of products, including Wash Bears of the Wilderlands. I'm assuming that was a typo.
What?
Wash Bears of the Wilderlands.
What are these like the Wilderlands version of the Care Bears or something, or what?
I don't. Was it the Washerwomen of
Wash
the?
Wash Bears sounds a slightly dirty. Wash dirty, get it?
I get it. I was very confused myself.
Yeah.
And it also says the charitable donations on sales of Judges Guild products being sold through the Goodman Games website after that 2020 fiasco, according to Bob, ended in 2022 because they mutually agreed that the guild should be making money. But these contradict what Joe had previously said. And if I had to take either person at face value, I would probably take Joe over Bob at this point. But if somebody comes up with receipts, then that's where we're at.
That's something else.
It's just it's the never-ending story of a quack that's gone to the dogs. And I was corrected. It was the Muppets, but it was the Muppets General Hospital type of skit. I was corrected.
Oh, like Veterinarian's Hospital.
Veterinarian's Hospital, yes. There we go. My memory is failing me in my old age.
If that Kickstarter wasn't there, they would have had an easier time of it.
If it wasn't for those damn meddling kids.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. So that's where it stands right now, right? Hey, guess what? You lost your sound.
Oh, I moved my mic and I must have muted it. Thank you.
Oops.
The thread is up on N-World. I am going to link it in the chat for anybody who wants to entertain themselves. And the reason why I say entertain yourself is because as interesting as this original article from Morris is, the comments are gold. The comments are gold.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, because there are some commenters that make some really valid points, and they're worth looking at.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, Chad goes, I don't feel bad. I had to Google it. All right. Well, I stand corrected. You got to be corrected. So, but yeah, honestly, this is a self-inflicted wound. uh,
Oh,
and this is like a vanity project for Joe Goodman, and he wanted to do it for years. I understand that, but you know what? Some things just aren't worth the baggage that's attached to it.
that's true.
And this is one of those things, and it's a shame, and I don't think this is going to go away. I
It's
really
going to
don't.
leave a mark
Mhm.
or a scar or something.
Yeah, and that's a shame. Again, it didn't have to. Joe could have been out in front of this before it even started. He should have
Yep.
been, but I just oh yeah, all right. So um John Miller says when I click on the link, it looks like the Judges Guild post. It wasn't from a few days ago. It was from yesterday, and it was gone as of last night. But you can read the original text at the N World website, which I just linked. You can read the whole screed. It isn't. It didn't help anybody. Okay, it didn't.
Yeah.
Bob. It made Bob feel great, and I'm happy that he's had a
For
Filipino
about
girl.
5 minutes.
I'm happy for him and his Filipino girl. Oh no, fiance. Excuse me. His Filipino fiance of 3 years. That's one of the things that stuck out. Why that had to be part of this, I don't know, but congratulations. I don't think I'm going to get an invite to the wedding anytime soon, but I
Uh,
mean, good for him. Chad, it's like Bob II is determined to make this go as painfully as possible for everyone involved.
no, really?
Yeah, he's again. I am looking at this as fight or flight. He's been cornered by uh, Joe Goodman, and he's been made to look like what's that little skit? Only the baddies. He's been made. Bob's been made to look like the baddie, and he is fighting back. And I mean, again, I think the Goodman videos were pretty good at explaining the process. Maybe they were too long. Maybe there were too many of them.
Is
But
Bob the second banned from North Texas? I don't remember.
um, well, uh, being that he may or may not have threatened certain people with legal action,
That'll get
um,
a ban real fast.
yeah, I would assume that he's uh, not going to. Well, he's certainly not going to be invited as a special
Now,
guest.
is this Bob? When you say Bob the second, you mean Bob Jr.?
Bob Jr. Because there
Okay.
is a
'Cause
third.
yeah,
Bob
that's
Jr.
why I
has
say
has a son
now.
named Bob.
I remembered Bob the third gave them a lot of trouble
Yes,
by mishandling stuff.
yes.
Um, so that it runs in the family, I guess. I don't know.
I think that Bob the third had social media posts that were actually more damaging than Junior's posts.
Really.
Yes. Well, we're catching up on the latest. Zatrin, we're catching up on the latest uh, installment of the
The city,
CSIO
yeah,
fiasco.
the city state thing.
The Ting.
The
It's a
thing.
thing.
You
It's
do the
not a
thing.
marvelous thing anymore, but it's a
Hey,
thing.
hey, you get that thing? I said, you get that thing? Yeah.
You get that marvelous thing. Everyone calls it slinky. It's like
Log. It's log. Make it heavy. It's wood.
what? It's log. It's log.
That
Oh
was
yeah, that
good.
was the.
That was good.
Was that Ren and Stimpy? Oh my
Yes, it
god!
was. I've got all my Ren and Stimpy over there. So yeah,
The original Ren and Stimpy run was much better than the
true.
reboot.
The adult one. Yeah, and yeah, I've got a lot. I just discovered the other day. I've got a lot of like MTV Nicktoon. I found out I had all of Beavis and Butthead, the original run.
Nice.
I got Aeon Flux, um, the original cartoon, and yeah, so I'm a little hep on that kind of stuff.
Okay. That's pretty good.
I even got a bootleg of MTV's Liquid Television. Wow,
Wow, that's
it's a
kind of
crappy bootleg, but that's the only thing. That's the only, like I told my friend Heath over in Serial at Midnight. It's like, yes, I bought a bootleg, but this is probably the only release this show's ever gonna get.
wow.
And yeah, right. Don't whiz on the electric fence. Electric fence. How was the electric fence?
Yeah.
I'm, re- I'm, re-
Or
I'm rehearsing for Saturday night at the con. Don't whiz the electric fence.
or the third rail. I'm just gonna throw that out
Yeah,
for
don't
you.
touch the third rail, please.
Yeah, it's like, yeah,
You
it's gonna be funny, man. I'm
and
gonna
you whiz on the third rail
with you.
and not get arrested.
Well, or not. Could you want it? Do you want it? Depends on how full your bladder is, maybe.
That's true.
You know, if it's a continuous stream, you may have more of an issue than if it's just.
Yeah.
We're getting into.
If I brought a horse into the subway and say go, let's see what happens.
Oh God, it would probably trip over the.
Probably put this place on fire.
Well, all right. It maybe so, maybe. That's
Yeah.
why we
All
don't
right.
have mounted in the subways. There you go.
Now that we're in the weirdest place possible for a discussion.
Well, it's the afternoon, right? So we get punch drunk in the afternoon. Oh, by the
No,
way, folks, I'm going to remind those there is a live stream tonight at 8 p.m. The Random Party. Um, Rob Conley is dying to discuss this topic. Okay, Rob Conley is chomping at the bit. I had to get the tongue depressor in his mouth to have it bite down because expect the unexpected tonight at 8 o'clock. I'm just saying, this is you get the finest RPG live stream discussion groups on this channel, and you get it for grazie. You get it for nothing, but
no,
you could be you could be a member. You could be $2 makes you $1.99 technically makes you a member. So consider it. That's all I'll say. Consider it.
maybe,
Maybe.
maybe.
Marcelo, welcome. So now, other than that fiasco, did you happen to see the article on the Whiz Kids minis?
No, I did not.
The Baldur's Gate. They Whiz
Baldur's
Kids.
Gate 3.
Yes,
Oh, they did minis, didn't they?
yes, and
In
they
passing, I saw something on YouTube.
okay. Well, they were such high quality, Glenn. By the way, I hope you notice my snark in the high quality aspect.
They
They
are
were
such high quality. Everybody paints them a white base and leaves them that way.
they're pre-painted minis.
Oh, well, then we paint them over white and leave them that way.
All right, so hold on a second here. I'm gonna. So this is the picture that people were shown that this is what
Right.
your mini will look like.
Right. Okay. Oh my gosh. What's that one painting they did over in the Louvre? The girl was supposed to restore it and made it worse.
Yep. Yeah, oh
That's what
God,
it looks
yes.
like.
What?
That's what it looks like.
She wasn't supposed to restore it. She decided she needed to restore it.
Yeah, she did they hire her to paint this
No.
mini or what?
Yeah, I know. It's like what? It's like pre-fireball, after fireball.
Yeah. Half the face is two faces a warrior. Uh, but yeah, that's pretty bad. That is pretty bad.
So,
I can't even do it. I can't even do it that bad when I was painting.
all right. So here's something that's interesting. Zatron says, as part of what Goodman Games says in the update, he says the contracts have a confidentiality clause. Did Judges Guild violate the confidentiality clause by making false claims about the date of the agreement or by making
Good
false
question.
claims about Dungeoneer? It's my understanding if one party violates a confidentiality clause, the other party is automatically released from it. Well, the other thing that I understand about confidentiality clauses is that they are 5 years long unless renewed. So if it was signed in early 2020, it would no longer be. Uh,
Actionable.
yeah. So um, I would venture a guess that if one party makes certain claims, you would be able to address the claims that are made by that party. I would consult an attorney when it comes to such. I am certain that the legal representation that Joe Goodman can get for Goodman Games is far superior to what um, Bob could get for himself and Judges Guild.
Yeah.
Okay, because Goodman has an income. The guild does not have much of an income.
Yeah. Guild. How long has Guild been on life support?
I would say,
Like 10 years.
oh, it's been on life support longer than that. I would say since they lost the license to use AD&D and had to use their Judges Guild
I think they were
system.
doing all right after that.
Well, they went from being on top of the world to puttering along.
Just another third party.
Yeah, well, but not even like a. Remember when they had a license when nobody else had a license for D&D? They were printing money,
Yeah.
and once they lost that license and they had to use the Judges Guild Universal system,
Wink,
um,
wink.
yeah, it lost a lot. Now they had licenses for other games, Traveler, RuneQuest, Tunnels and Trolls, but
That's right. I remember those.
not much in the way. So now, the
So funny.
guild. Go ahead.
Oh,
No, go ahead.
well, no, no. Go ahead.
I was going to say that the guild, in recent years, in the modern iteration, was making money by licensing their IP. Yes, you know, licensed it to Frog God, licensed it to Goodman Games. My understanding, in some cases, licenses were duplicated, but whatever. But that's how they were making their funds, not by publishing anything new necessarily, and not by republishing anything, but by licensing their IP.
I was going to ask, hey, Flint, nice to see you.
Yes.
I was going to ask, was now I know Judges Guild started the old module supplement stuff, um, but was Mayfair publishing at the same time?
I think Mayfair wasn't as early.
Okay. I mean, they got into it a little later, but it's so funny. They TSR taking the license away and giving it to Mayfair because all my Mayfair books are compatible with Events Dungeons and Dragons right there on the cover.
Oh yeah, and that's
Maybe they got a better deal on it from Mayfair. I don't know.
all right. So I just did a quick. So apparently, the first published D&D adventure was Temple of the Frog, and
Yeah.
that was in the Blackmore supplement in '75.
Yep.
So and then Palace of the Vampire Queen
I
in
heard that.
'76 was the first third party and first adventure. Because remember, TSR wasn't publishing adventures. They thought there
Right.
was no money in it. Who'd want somebody else to write their adventure for them? They want to write their own. Little did they know initially.
Can you imagine if you bought the Holmes box or the BX boxes or the Beckme boxes and all they had was rule books?
Yes.
there was no module in there.
Well, didn't Basic come with the geomorphs for a while instead of
Yeah, I thought it
yeah?
was in addition to.
No, one of the there was at one point where instead of being boxed with B1 or B2, it was the geomorphs,
Yeah,
which
well, also at one time they packaged them with
chits.
numbered shits, and we all know what that was all about.
We can't get dice, so we got chit for you.
Yeah,
Enjoy
I
your
think the
chit.
people in prison who play still use that kind of system.
Yeah, yeah. Give me a pencil. We can. How you gonna play craps? Give me two pencils. We got it. Ah, shit! They gave me those rounded pencils. This isn't gonna work.
That's where Ken's selling them. Prisons.
You should be.
Yeah, he'd possibly make a little money that way.
Well, he'd have to. Well, here's the thing: he'd have to make the pencils. You know,
Ah,
and what are the odds of that? Not great, not great. And I mean, and
if
listen.
they're allowed in prison, I keep thinking, I think people in prison write their character sheets with crayon or something.
Oh yeah, because we could turn this pencil into a shank.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've still got my Tunnels and Trolls pencils that if sharpened, it does a half a die damage.
There you go. Well, I have my tactical pen. So
Yeah, half D6 weapon when sharpened. I'm never going to sharpen it. I don't want to use it up. It's nice.
there you go.
Yeah.
See,
You know what I hate?
that's the
Oh,
thing. Like, well, that's a tactical pen, and that's the window breaker.
really?
Yeah, so you can break the
Nice.
window.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've got things. I'm not talking about just gaming now, but movies and other stuff. When it comes with special stuff,
Right.
and what I hate is it's a nice thought, but if I'm supposed to use it like this pencil, I'm not
Right.
gonna because I got it as part of a for instance, here, I'll just pull a movie down here. This is one of my favorite movies, and this is a DVD set of Silverado. Okay.
Okay.
It comes with the Silverado, you know, DVD, but also you get a deck of playing cards
Oh, nice.
with it. I'm never going to use these cards. I don't know. I don't want to wear them out. And it's not like I'm because it may be more valuable with the cards not used. I don't care about that. They're just nice cards, and I've seen game designers do that, especially when they're giving out like minis or special. Well, not so much. The minis. I mean, you can always paint the minis, but I've got box sets in there of stuff where it's still got the dice that I got with it,
Right.
and they're in a case, and I never touch them. One,
Damn.
I've got tons of dice, and two, they're nice. You don't want to mess the set. That's the problem. You don't want to mess the set. That's why I love the concept that Judges Guild originally came up with for putting the modules on plain paper, because you can mark it to a fare thee well, and then just go buy another copy if you need a clean one.
So you regarded them as disposable.
Yes, I mean, so even the TSR stuff was supposed to be that. Why else would you take the cover off to use as a shield or something?
See,
It's
I
got the
never saw the
maps in there and
TSR.
everything. And
I always
and
wrote in my TSR modules in pencil. I
because
always
there's yeah,
because you
me
track the
too.
hit points,
Yeah. And
But
I love that about that. Yeah, because you go get another copy
oh, I know. I was
now,
going to get another copy.
and they're cheap, and they were cheap.
Well, I mean,
They were
relatively
cheap.
speaking, yes. Adventure modules, I think, were like 450 when I got my first one. I got
But
Slave
but
Pit
what was
A1 was my first adventure I picked up.
really?
Yeah,
Um, which one was that?
Slave Pits of the Undercity,
Oh,
Slaver series.
okay, yeah, got it. I remember the D&D, AD&D modules they used to give that had like cardboard cutouts and you can build the town or got, little people. I just don't feel good about using I just don't feel good about using stuff like that. Um, I've got my only physical copy of Dragon is Dragon number 150 because I found that at Half Price Books for the usual price of a
Right.
few bucks, but it was a pristine copy, bagged, and still had the original deck of many things bound in it. I'm not touching that. I'm not
No.
pulling it apart. Nope, that stays with the magazine. That's the kind of thing. That's what I'm kind of talking about. I mean, nowadays you get. I still can't get over fifth edition having these $50 modules. Yes, they're very versatile and stuff like that, but I wouldn't write into this. Write in this.
Oh no, that yeah, you get a price point.
This is
You're like,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is $50. I'm not going to write in it, whether
Well,
it's pencil or not. Well, you can't really because it's slick paper, but you get my point.
right. Well, I mean, like BattleTech. I had a first printing of Battle Droids. It was Battle Droids before Lucas threatened them with legal action, and it became BattleTech. Battle Droids came on slick paper. Your minis were on slick paper. I had to glue it onto a cereal box
Uh-huh.
and then cut it out
Cardboard.
to have usable minis that weren't going to go blowing away the moment
Right.
somebody opened up the door to the room and that little air current knocked everything over. So you back when we were gaming, a lot of times you were forced to destroy the integrity of a product just to
Right.
use the product. And none of us back in the day were like, well, I need to buy an extra copy so I have a mint copy for my collection. We didn't care.
Yeah.
That wasn't part of the
I
arrangement.
mean, I've always said that my game collection is a working collection. I don't buy things because I think they'll get, an increase in value
Right.
or things like that, even though I have helped that along a little by getting a lot of them signed by the pertinent people.
Right.
But that's for my enjoyment. This back here, it's a working collection. I will not hesitate to take a book off the shelf there and use it in a game. Maybe my 40th anniversary Call of Cthulhu, I might think twice about it, but
Okay.
I'd still probably use it,
Fair enough.
and that's the only way to do it, really. For me, that's the way I like to do it. I mean, I hate, when once the speculation starts in a hobby,
Yeah, it changes the whole atmosphere.
yeah, it changes the whole thing. All your action figures still in blister on the wall. Well, are you going to take them out and play? No, they're worth more that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't take them. Well,
Yeah.
listen, look,
Same with comic books.
I mean, I've made collectors not literally cry, but I've gotten collectors very upset when they found out that I years ago got a copy of Empire of the Petal Throne.
Uh huh.
The box was a little crushed, but it was still in the original wrap. The original wrap.
Oh
Got it
boy.
for under $100, and I ripped that shit open the moment I got it. The D&D collector's box. What was that? The 30th anniversary
Yeah,
collector's
I
box.
remember that.
Still in the wrap.
Silver one. The silver one.
Yeah, or maybe maybe the 25th anniversary, whatever it was. Still in the wrap. I got it for less than 100, and again, I unwrapped it. Now I know I was
Look,
taking. In retrospect, I've probably lost hundreds of dollars by doing that, but I didn't buy it as an investment. I bought it because I wanted it for my collection.
well, here's the thing about rap stuff. I learned this. Somebody told me, and it's probably true that once again I'm going to use my video
Uh,
collection as an example. Um, Everything I get to put in my Blu-ray collection or DVD collection, I unwrap.
Right.
When I get it, I unwrap it because I have heard that if you leave something wrapped up too long, it damages the container, damages because of, I don't know, the chemical, not chemical, but
Right.
that stuff. And so that's the first thing that goes is the cellophane. Boom, off. I mean, I don't care. I want my I want to keep my collection, and that's why people bag comics, and that's why people bag game books.
Oh yeah.
Same thing. They take them out of the wrap. I mean, all my Judges Guild stuff I've taken out of the wrap, and I've bagged about half of them.
Well, the
You're putting
Judge
them,
Guild rap was pretty pathetic anyway.
yeah. Well, and there were like, what was it, the Unknown Gods, or that 2-volume monster thingy. I found tons of those still in wrap they're like new old stock.
Wow.
They made so many copies of those. It was unbelievable. The Field Guide to Monsters, Volume 1 and 2, that's the one.
Was
Yeah,
that
they
Sandy,
made.
was that Sandy Peterson's? No.
No, that was Judges Guild.
Oh,
It was
okay.
that one group that gave Judges Guild all these monsters, and they just published them.
Really?
Yeah, and there's stuff from their campaigns in there, like how to become a god. You think it's hard to become a god, an immortal? Look at that system. It's damn near impossible to become any kind of immortal or god the way theirs works. Yeah. Oh, Chad's right.
What?
It's only worth a certain amount of money. One, if you find a buyer willing to pay that amount, and two, you actually sell it. Until then, it's only a potential thing. He's
Right.
right.
No, you're right.
See, this is why I don't get into the speculation market, no matter what it is, because it's too iffy. Even eBay gives me trouble.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the only things that I would consider to have real intrinsic value
Uh-huh.
is stuff that you can sell outside of a hobby niche, like silver coins, gold coins. They got a value, and that value is pegged to the market. And I don't have to, I can go to a lot of locations and say I'll sell my gold coins, I'll sell my silver coins, or whatever. But now when I start going, well, this one is valuable because it's a 1945 Philadelphia Mint silver nickel, which for the
Mhm.
well, now we got to get it graded. When you're talking about stuff that's like that, then your value gets a lot more swingy and subjective.
Right. Well, see, anybody who talks about whatever collection they have, videos, books, games, whatever, and they start talking about this is an investment, they're in trouble right there.
Yeah,
And what you were talking about, that's an investment. Coins, gold,
right,
jewelry, stuff like that. Get that as an investment for, like, a rainy day.
right.
This stuff, it depreciates fast. DVDs depreciate fast.
Yeah,
All that stuff. But stuff like gold and silver and jewels and coins, they don't. So if you're going to invest in that and do this for fun.
if you're gonna spew into this. Sorry, I'm getting my
What the hell was that?
Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Remember he comes out with that
Oh,
I don't have the small enough cup, but he comes out with
that's been too long.
yeah, he comes out with the small the cup they have at the medical office so you can have a sip of water. If you can
Uh-huh.
spew into this, it's like
Oh, Lord. Lord. Too Jewish. No, sorry.
no too
You
Jewish.
made me think of Blazing Saddles.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Listen, that
I
is
know we can go around and kill all the firstborn kids. Too Jewish.
you
It's
did
one
the
of my
voice.
favorite lines in that
You did
movie.
his voice really good for that.
Yeah.
Party on, Wayne.
Party
On,
on,
girl.
Garth.
Game
Looks like
on.
you're having a good time in Vegas with this stuff.
You know,
Anyway, I'm getting off on the
I
movies.
had a hell of a crush on the Tia Carrera.
Oh
The
yeah, she was something.
yeah.
Jeez. Now, see, I don't need Bad Mike around to dive into movies. So
Can you imagine if someone made Blazing Saddles these days? He rode a
it
blazing
won't. They won't.
saddle. They won't. They couldn't. They.
You know, my philosophy is that there are, you know, you can go back to like a lot of movies and say they couldn't make this today. That's because it was of its time. That's why. Some things just are of their time, and you
Right.
have it, and be thankful you have it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that'll get you in, possibly get into trouble sometimes, but what are you going to do? I mean, how many people back in the day gave TSR flack for D&D and AD&D, some of the art they were using? You know what I'm saying? I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
that succubus boy, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, here. I'm gonna make. I had to look this up real quick. Gran Torino. Now, Gran Torino was made in 2008.
Uh-huh.
Gran Torino could use every racial epithet, but the one that was used in Blazing Saddles. That one they avoided like a plague. So that or and any other race was good, but that one word could not be used.
Yep.
So Blazing Saddle used it like it was going out of style, and guess
Use it
what?
like a hammer. Yeah.
You know what? It did. It did go out of style, literally. So I mean, that's why you couldn't make Blazing Saddles again.
Yeah.
If somebody, I mean, because Gran Torino was over the top on him playing a racist character, and what is the most racist word you can use, and they wouldn't touch it.
That's pretty much right. You're pretty much right.
And I remember thinking that when I was watching the movie, and I thought it was a good movie, and I was like, if he's this big racist, how is the F bomb or C bomb of racist words not coming out? And it's like, oh, because you just can't.
You say you could use the C word if you made it in Australia.
Right. Well, YouTube said you can't use the C word. Trust me. I've dropped it once, uh, and I got demonetized. And then I started talking about a baseball term that that rhymes with, and I still got demonetized. So I don't even want to. I don't even want to get into the ballpark. I'll stand outside the gates
But
and
also,
wait.
look, also in the day, Satanic Panic aside,
Uh huh.
remember all the people who gave Gary and TSR flack for like putting a table of strumpets and prostitutes
Yes.
in, was it first edition or basic? I think it was first edition.
Well, yeah. No, that was in first edition DMG.
Yeah, yeah. They had, you can roll on a prostitute chart.
Right for your encounter. Now,
Yeah.
for, and they
Also,
didn't get that much flack at the time. They're getting
right.
flack about it today.
Also, what got flack over time was the fact that they would rate female adventurers as weaker than male ones. If you remember, if you those charts where you roll in the height and weight, you
Well,
know,
it wasn't the height and necessarily the height and weight charts. It was that's where it wasn't. It was on AD&D, like a female fighters with 18 strength can roll percentile strength,
mhm,
and the lowest tier percentile strength was 1 through 50 on that percentile, and
right,
that was the female max. Female human max was the 50, whereas a human male could get theoretically 0, 0, be +3, +6.
yeah,
So they maxed out the female
yeah.
strength, and people, now honestly, we had so few women or girls playing in our groups that if they had gotten 18 strength and had rolled higher, they would have kept it because we wouldn't have told
I
them. You
I would
can't.
I would have given them if they want to go 99 or if they roll that, I would have given it to them
Yeah. Um,
because, but that's my thing because I think that's my kink.
yeah.
But that's just
But that I would have allowed it too, but that was the quasi realism they were trying to build into the
right.
game.
I don't fault them for doing that. It's a nice, it's a nice effort. But once again, this is fantasy. You can bend them rules.
Right. And then if you were a female non-human,
Right.
your strength was even lower.
Yeah.
And you know, listen, we could do a whole afternoon on game balance and why it is that, like, a male dwarf couldn't have a strength of higher than 1899. They're dwarves, aren't they? As strong or stronger than humans? This was all on the altar of game balance.
That's right. And
And
Gary doesn't like elves.
but
Uh,
it post Gary Dragon Mag had a forum debate about a nude blue sorceress on the cover.
what issue is that?
I mean, that's, you know appreciating the human body. uh, Males appreciate the human body when it's a female body. Okay, women can appreciate the human body whether it's male or female. They are not as sexually fixated or oriented to men. Look at it and go, I'd like
Whoa.
to procreate with that. Whereas women go, wow, I really, she's really
I
beautiful.
think I'm going to make a T-shirt for you from my Printify store. Yeah, it's just going to say, "I like to procreate with that." I
I'd
like
like to procreate with that. Mm-mm. Procreation?
that's the most. That's one of the more creative ways to get around demonetization that I've ever seen.
There we go. I'd like to procreate with that. Look,
And she,
we got to figure out some.
Chad's
None of
right
this.
about
Uh,
you can
uh,
justify female humans with 1850 plus as being Amazon. Sure, why not? You know,
right.
but
But
I
I
think there's
wouldn't.
always going to be the one in a the one in a thousand female who is not and can do that.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, strength as being Amazons. In other words, they got it from Amazon. No, uh, anyway, but that's these are the things when they say when I hear a movie can't be made today, I start thinking of well that game couldn't be written today.
Well, that to some extent is, what's going on. You could not write AD&D, and I'm not saying you couldn't write it because we've progressed so much in how we write game systems and present them,
Right.
but just some of the parts of AD&D would no longer be appropriate for this time in our cultural history. But that
Right.
doesn't invalidate the past. And see that, and I could go into another whole thing about how I find it very amusing that as a culture, I'm going to just say that as a culture, we like to say, well, we value other cultures. All cultures are equal, right?
Right.
We say that. And then we look at our own past and say our own cultural past is either irrelevant,
Wrong.
immoral, improper, or
There's a word for that. It's called presentism,
okay.
where you judge the past by your standards of today,
But then
which
you
I
should
think
be
is wrong.
judging other cultures
And
today.
cultures, and
So I just I have issues with that, and I don't like judging the past by today's morals because
yeah, that's wrong.
you know,
Um, I, I could bring up like at least a dozen examples in the role playing game community about what's been published like 25 years ago
hmm
verse, and it's like there to me there isn't a game system out there whenever it was written that could not be played today. That's
fatal.
why you have GMs going over rules. That's why you have GM house rules, things like that. That's what
Right.
that's there for.
Fatal. Fatal could
Yeah,
be played.
well, or whole.
Uh,
Chronological snobbery. I like that, Chad. I like that.
Jerry Tell, welcome Brienne of Tarth from a Game of Thrones. Yeah, no, she's definitely. And Chad C.S. Lewis called it chronological snobbery.
Yep. And it could almost be interpreted as a way to gatekeep too.
Yeah, no, I certainly, and I don't know. We're gonna be we'll go off in the weeds. Not that we don't already go off in the weeds. Uh,
Well,
Death
take the
Angel,
gun, leave the gun, take the cannoli. Okay,
Death Angel. I consider the past to be better, but we're working on fixing the nonsense today. Finally,
finally. Yeah, but I mean, compare that to the stuff that Watsy's churning out. Oh boy.
yeah, I know.
Um, oh, with Watsy, it's like it's getting to the point where you got a Watsy Hasbro bingo card.
Uh
And oh, I got it, bingo! All five of these problems I don't like. Yeah, okay, whatever.
gosh darn
Uh,
it! Look at
because
that.
they are experts at shooting themselves in the foot.
Well, Goodman Games is coming pretty close.
Yeah, but I give Goodman a kind of a pass. I mean, they're not nearly as big as TSR and has or Watsy and Hasbro. And frankly, Watsy and Hasbro is big enough where they should know better about a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, but what happens is, um, and I'm not gonna use a term. I'm gonna say agendas. Agendas often come
Yeah.
before
Hmm.
profits for the individuals involved.
Yes.
Or I can get my agenda, my beliefs, my desires of what things should look like. I'll get them into it, and it'll change the world. And I think that that's a lot of times the expectation is that if you can change the way people play the games, you will change the way people live, and that doesn't work that way.
No. No. This is not your fantasy, Watsy. This is everybody's.
Yeah, and if you
You
want
make
to
of it what you will.
if you want to make money off it, you got to figure out.
Look, I'm thinking like published campaign worlds. I like following the campaign world and try and do it justice, okay? But
Right.
I'm not going to slavishly go lockstep with whatever the hell they wrote in
No.
there. Any GM worth its salt should never do that. That's almost as bad as railroading.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it is a form of railroading. Oh, you can't do that because that guy's there. Why not? Well, because he's doing this, and you no 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 no. I'm going to go over there and do this thing. I know that's kind of vague, but my mind works slow. Yeah. No one cares about what the weirdos at Watsy think or want. I was raised in a poor orchard. You are right, raised. You are right.
There you go.
Sometimes I just think Watsy and Hasbro are just around now to ridicule.
Um, maybe.
Until they do something like the OGL thing where they tried to put the hammer down, and then we rallied against it.
Put the hammer down. Put
Yeah.
the hammer down.
You want the hammer down? Ramrodding more like it. Yeah. Yeah. These guys are on point. You know, we got some viewers. They're on point today. Wow. You know? I mean, hell. Wow.
Yeah, no, I was raised a poor orc child. Welcome. No one here cares about what the weirdos that watch you think or want.
An IP
Well,
farm.
that's true.
That's one way of thinking about it.
Yeah, it becomes about an IP farm. You're right.
Yeah.
Flint, by the way, if you know, you're welcome to join us tonight. You know,
You're welcome to join us now.
well, no, because I gotta go to lunch soon.
Yeah, okay.
So
Already had my lunch.
oh no, I got Rach waiting on lunch.
Well, I got more gangbusters to write.
Well, you write your gangbusters. I want to thank everybody that joined us for our afternoon live. We will do the afternoon live again next week. I'm not sure what day just yet. Got to look at the doctor's schedule that's coming up. But
Now,
2 weeks
next week is the week before North Texas. So.
right. So the 2 weeks after that is going to be North Texas week. I can almost guarantee you, no daytime live. And the week after North Texas is a short week for me because I have Central New York Con the weekend after, so I can almost guarantee you no.
Right.
No.
So the week, like I said, the week after we'll have like Triple D live from
North Texas.
North Texas. Yes.
So make sure you
it's me, Eric, and whoever the hell we can grab walking by.
definitely. It's fun. You always have fun doing it.
Jason's already asking, "Can I come by?" Said, yeah, sure.
Keith, orcs are people too.
I think that, like, what was it, last year we did it? We got so many people.
Oh my God, yes.
On the show. It was unbelievable. And names too. You know?
Definitely.
Didn't we get Raggy at one point?
I think we did.
Yeah, we grabbed Raggy, we grabbed Lloyd.
Yep.
All those people. All those people who come to the con. But yeah, so come to the con, you may end up on a live stream.
There you go. All right, folks. Again, next live is tonight, 8 p.m. Rob Conley chomping at the bit. If you want to see what Rob, not agitated, excited, wound up. Tonight's the night.
I can imagine.
Right.
I guess it's time to go.
It's time to go. I got a hungry wife and a hungry belly of my own. All right, folks.
All right.